My name is Miřenka Čechová and I am from the Spitfire Company. The company was founded by me and Petr Boháč, together with a few other artists, performers, while we met around the performance The Voice of Anne Frank, 2007. And since the time, we are doing original pieces combining dance, contemporary dance, performance art, theater, music, but also multimedia. We are experimenting with the form, and also our topics are around actually human beings in some kind of borderline situation, on the edge of their existence. Usually we are creating pieces that are political, that are highly emotional, and that deals with certain, I would say, like extreme physical effort that is happening or becoming pretty strong aesthetics in our performances. Was not only been in Kulturhus, Bærum Kulturhus with the Antiwords performance, but also Bærum Kulturhus was co-producing one of our performances, Sniper's Lake, that we actually auditioned there, and we spent a pretty nice time in the creative residency there and had the opening night there. So my memories from this special place are pretty strong. We always traveled with our company together, also with our kids and helpers, because we tried to really be open for the possibility to have performers who are mothers, women, and who has their kids. So really to create this practice where actually we don't need to stop, but we are actually continuing our work while actually having a family. This will be also the case of Antiwords. Well, two mothers are coming with their kids to perform Antiwords piece, which actually, as you know, is a piece that is based on the one-act play of Václav Havel, who was our who was our president of the free Czechoslovakia after 1989, and who was also a playwright, an artist, playwright who became a dissident artist who became a president. He wrote this play in 1975, it's an absurd drama for two characters. One is actually himself, because it's an autobiographical piece, Ferdinand Vaněk, who is an intellectual who is forced to work in a brewery. And second one is he's a brewmaster or chief of the brewery, who is actually forcing him to spy on himself because of the political reasons. This play is very well known in Czech, but is always performed by words and by two men. We have decided to do this performance for two women without words, with huge masks. The play is actually about the power, about the abuse of power, about the system when the oppressor is trying to force a man to deal with the situation against his moral attitudes. But in our case, or in our interpretation, those two roles of oppressor and a dissident, they are changing. And they are all the time like changing their positions and their points of view. Well, actually saying that to abuse the power can happen anywhere by anyone. We also work with this element of performance art, which is actually experiencing real things on the stage. And the play is happening around the table while these two men are drinking beer. This became also an essential element in our play, while two performers, female performers, are drinking alcoholic beer during the performance, trying to get drunk and to lose the control, or fighting with actually being absolutely under the control of the direction, but also somehow using their body as an instrument to show the audience loss of the control and also the struggle against the alcohol that they are actually drinking. hopefully not only because of that, the play became pretty famous. We have already more than, I think, 200 shows. We performed this Antiwords piece all over the world. We performed it in Japan, Korea, many times in China. We performed it in New York, Washington, in Israel, yeah, all over the Europe, in different places. And everywhere there were pretty strong and exciting reactions from the audience, recognizing different patterns from their lives. I can say that the abuse of the power is universal, and this push to humans being to somehow sacrifice their ethics for the purpose of their better approach or better situation in their life is something that is I would say still a strong topic around us, and nowadays I would say even stronger. Well, it's mainly about the political pressure, or also pressure of your superior on yourself to behave certain way. Actually, the brewmaster, he's telling him he's going through different emotional stages, from begging him to really like help him to spy on the others and also on himself, from threatening him, also he goes through the phase when he's actually putting himself into the position of an victim. Yeah. So what me? How I'll now speak with those above me? How I'll advocate that you didn't do this? Yeah. So the play, the power games among them, I would say it's something that's not. For me, necessarily connected with Me Too, because it's a power between genders. This is a power between two, I would say, non-gender characters, because it's two characters that they don't have any features, nor female nor male, basically trying to be like every man in the black suits, with those two huge masks that a little bit recall the era of communism, those sculptures of the leaders who are leading the country for the better future. So this kind of shapes it has. But the truth that is under the mask is revealed in a moment when they're actually putting up the mask, and when we see actually female face that starts to be red and sweaty and not feeling well, and then we put the mask on, and then we play again the comedy. So this clash between comical or absurd comedy, and this like very performative, authentic being on the stage of two very concrete female performers. I think this clash is something that is so calling, yeah, for the others. What is under our masks? What role we play in order to bring certain advantages in our lives, and how much we have to fight with that. Well, I would say it's gestural, it's performative, it's a little bit dancey, but I would say more like physical and gestural. There is a voiceover translated in English that is running on the screen, but it's a language that is absurd, it's repetitive, the sentences are repeated, they are not making much of the sense, which was also the way how Václav Havel was writing, this absurd writing with very mechanical repeating sentences from mainly the oppressors. But what is interesting also on this gestural physical performance is that while fighting with the alcohol, performers need to really stay very precise with the rhythm. So it has very strong rhythmical, choreographical structure, how they move rhythmically with the sound, while actually fighting with sickness, with their tiredness, with all of these emotions that are happening not only through the alcohol, but also under these big masks. So he was a dissident playwright, so actually his plays were forbidden to be staged in our country, but also to be read or spread. He, as an intellectual, he had a period when he worked in the brewery, really like a worker rolling the barrels. Yeah, but so this was one of these forbidden plays, but it became a legend. It was at first performed in his chalet. It was first performed at his cottage outside of Prague in the kitchen with his friend who was an actor. So, and we have this original tape of these two voices. And we are using in the performance the original tape actually among him and his friend, the actor, who were reading the play. That became a score for a performance. After 1989, after the fall of communism, the play became really famous. It was famous before around the world, but it was finally possible to be performed here in our country. But I have to say that I've seen many versions of this performance, and we are the only one who perform it for two women, and also non-verbally. What is very specific with this play is that actually we can't repeat it many times. It's performed for special occasions, and for example, when we performed in Edinburgh Festival in Scotland, which was a 1 month of performances almost every day, we had to have 3 casts who would perform this piece. So already there is a group of actresses, dancers, who performed the Antiwords piece, either the role of Vaněk or the role of the brewmaster Sládek. So it's almost like a small community around the Spitfire Company, and while of course we've been pregnant or we've been breastfeeding our kids, we needed to find the other replacements. But I'm really happy that for the Bærum Kulturhus performance will come actually one of the creator, Jindřiška Křivánková, who together with me and Petr Boháč created the piece and was the original cast together with me.